And the winner is my boy Tresor!
Like I always find the concept of music and how the people behind music come to find music, come to create a career out of music, something that they can sustain themselves, something that can sustain their families, and it becomes very personal if it's something that you're born with as a talent. Your story is super interesting. I remember having a chat with you about 4 years ago when I worked on Good Hope FM, and we were having like a radio telephone interview, and you were telling me the story of how Tresor came to be. And I find it always like a fascinating story, something that I want to hear and over. And I can imagine someone watching this right now is also fascinated that how did Tresor get into the music industry?
Thank you so much, man. It's great to be here. I mean, just to cut it short, I grew up in a very small city called Goma in the Eastern DRC, and I've always been passionate about the music since I was very young. And I was very fortunate enough to kind of have a clear idea of what I wanted to do since I was very young. So after I lost my parents very young, I left the DRC and started traveling around East Africa, so Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, and normally it's about a 4-hour flight trip. It took me about close to like 4 months. So I arrived in South Africa, in Durban. I've always been very passionate about music, and just to make ends meet, I started to make a living doing very small odd jobs, be it gardening, be it looking after people's cars, be it security guard jobs. And for me, those small money that I was making really kind of helped me make my first early demos, and also reaching out to people that eventually, one of them being Loyd in Durban, that put a band together for me. And I started writing a lot of songs and learning to speak English. I think one of the biggest break I ever got was to write songs for Zahara's second album, Pendula.
Oh, Pendula, Pendula, Pendula. Oh, Pendula, Pendula, Pendula.
And that was my first good publishing check and featured artist. And I mean, it's really been great. I got to perform for a lot of people, freshly ground, like right ahead of the career in 2000. I opened for them in 2018, and I think a lot of things led to one another. My first album came out possibly 2015, end of 2015, and so a lot of opportunities opened, touring with Seal and Bastille, and having a couple of number ones in Europe. So everything just literally started about, I'd love to believe everything started in my small bedroom back in Congo.
The interesting thing, I wanna delve into all of the musical like bullet points, you know, because those are some huge things. So I wanna give them the gravity that they deserve. But the one thing that always happens in someone's life is what they believe is their turning point, you know, like, and just listening to your story, which I wanna dial back on a bit. Like, for instance, my biggest turning point was losing my mother at 16 years old. You were quite young as well when you lost your parents. Like, would you say that was the first turning point? And for me, the most bizarre thing is that you chose to leave home. What influenced even that choice to go, you know what, I've just lost my parents tragically. I'm this, how old are you? Old were you first and foremost? And what
17.
made you decide? Yeah.
Look, I definitely believe me losing my folks, may they always rest in power, has always been something that really shifted something in me. I would tell them I kind of grew like in the speed of like a rocket. It just, my mind just shifted, the gear shifted, and I started to think more than myself, thinking for my family and the legacy, because of course now my folks are gone, and I mean they really did the very best to give us a very decent life, and I felt like I had been like a young man with about 5 sisters, you know, I felt like I had the responsibility to carry on this legacy of my folks. So that was something that was really, really important. And I decided to leave home because I come from a very small city. not really opportunities to be able to build yourself where you can be able to go on a global stage. And I feel like a lot of people from my hometown, they are born there, they go to school there, high school, university, and if they're lucky, maybe get a job. If not, probably a lot of time you just not unemployed, turn into alcohol, and just, you know, have a couple kids, and that's pretty much the cycle, you know. And I wanted to kind of start something new, not just for myself, but also for other kids from where I come from, and kids that have been in a situation where similar to mine, where just to make them believe that you can come from anywhere, man, and go out there. And of course, it's not going to be easy.
Having heard your story a number of times and always just been captivated with each time you tell your stories, that one, you're truly someone that doesn't want to be comfortable. You're not scared by anything. So like, I'm absolutely sure when you start going overseas and you're going to fly the flag high there. If I'm sitting at home right now watching Tresor, what's the last thing that you want to leave with me?
Man, I've been very fortunate to like live my dream out really loud, and treasure your life, man. Treasure your life, live your dreams the wildest way, have no fear whatsoever, be out loud with your dreams, be kind, and most importantly, treasure the people you love. And I think more than anything, man, don't be boxed, you know, be yourself, and live life and your dreams out very wildly and super loud, you know, because I believe this is the moment that we're here. It sounds like a lifetime, but actually it's a moment, you know. And you know, it's make it worth it, you know. And that's how I look at life, you know. That's just how I look at life. And yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I think 2020 and beyond is gonna be really exciting, and I wish everyone that watching this the same. And I think the biggest enemy for anything has always been fear. When you look at it, if I have to be honest with you, there's a lot of things that we look at and think that we can't attain them, but that's not true, man. It really is not, you know. My state of mind maybe a few years ago is different to what it is now, because if you check, maybe I check my emails, like something crazy that I never thought would be here, you know, messaging up the music. And you gotta believe in the part of your dreams, you know, and I hope you get the courage, if you don't have, or work on the courage to be the best version of yourself in any shape and any form.
Bro, we receive and kick ass this year and beyond. We're waiting for the drops. We're ready to play the music. No one's going to give you hell about playing it. And big ups, bro. Thank you so much for your time, man. We appreciate it.
Bless up.